Okay, so growing up I was a huge fan of the original Cars film. As I've gotten older, I've noticed that many people make the claim that it's actually one of the worst of the Pixar films. I wanted to rewatch the Cars trilogy so that I could see if these are actually some of the worst Pixar films, or if people are judging them unfairly. So in this video, I will be rewatching all of the Cars movies, as well as watching many of the Cars shorts for the first time, and then ranking them from worst to best. And just a heads up, I will not be including the Planes films on this list due to them not being made by Pixar. Alright, either way, let's get started with the original Cars film. The original Cars really shocked me with how much I enjoyed it. The film creates a really peaceful atmosphere with its animation style and its music from the very beginning. One way the film helps create this peaceful atmosphere of Radiator Springs is by comparing it to the hectic nature of the racing scenes very early on. Speaking of the racing scenes, they are really fun, and I like how that all the cars are uniquely designed. This holds itself especially true through the main three racers we follow: Chick Hicks, the King, and Lightning McQueen. All three of these characters have very fun and unique designs considering that all three of them are race cars. Once we get past the fun and fast-paced racing scenes, the movie does a really good job of slowing down in Radiator Springs, where we are introduced to even more fun and unique characters. Sally is a really good character, and it's a shame she is not used more throughout the film. Mater, who I already know gets overused later on, is actually used really well in this film. When used correctly, Mater can be one of the best parts of the Cars franchise. The problem is when he is used incorrectly, he is easily the worst part of the franchise. The character who did not stand out to me as a child, but has really stood out to me through this viewing, was Doc Hudson. In fact, I would argue that that the core friendship that the entire Cars franchise revolves around is the one between McQueen and Doc. In fact, I have even included in my notes that the hidden theme of the Cars movies is turn right to go left, or to make an unexpected change to get the best results. Like how McQueen makes an unexpected change, which leads to him having true lifelong friends with Doc and Mater and Sally. To wrap things up with this film, the Our Town scene is perfect, and it's actually a perfect Pixar sad moment, which is something I'll talk about a little bit later in this video. And another standout scene is the Shaboom scene, and I really like the ending of the film where we get to see that a villain actually wins for the first time, which is very rare for Pixar. And the bonus drive-in scene was also hilarious. All in all, this is a very strong start to the series. Alright, let's talk about Mater and the Ghost Light. This short film focuses on Mater being a prankster. Already, Mater has begun to run into some problems as a character. He is uncharacteristically unfunny compared to the original film, with the only joke that really landed for me being the end-credit scene with the monster truck. In my opinion, another thing that could have really helped the short film is if they had waited to reveal to the audience that the ghost light was just a lantern connected to Mater's hook until the very end of the short, where in the actual thing they kind of revealed it a little bit earlier on. As a child, I remember really liking this one, but for me at least, this short really did not age well. Rescue Squad Mater was the first in a mini-series called Mater's Tall Tales. I believe that the premise of having a ton of shorts all starring Mater played a huge part in why the Cars series has its unfortunate legacy. Mater feels more in character in this short compared to how he felt in Mater and the Ghost Light, which is a huge improvement for me. Seeing a true action scene in the Cars universe was also an unexpected surprise. All in all, it's really funny seeing Mater in these different situations, and even if I still have no idea if this short is canon or not, Mater the Greater is the next short to release. On the positives with this short, the animation looks really good, and the ending "you didn't make it" joke, while I have heard this joke told better, was still pretty funny. Some of the stunts performed also caught me off guard with how funny they actually were. Honestly, this is probably my favorite of the shorts so far. In El Matador, Mater kinda starts to feel out of character for me, and his jokes don't really tend to be as funny. With that being said, this is still a fairly good short. The gimmick of him bulldozer fighting is funny, and the gimmick becomes even more clever when they use Lightning McQueen's red color to attract the bulldozers. All in all, it's a pretty decent short, there's not much else to say about it. Unidentified Flying Mater is the best short so far. The animation is amazing for this to only be a short. This opens up a new door to the Cars universe by showing us just how well the Cars universe can blend with sci-fi tropes. Mater feels more in character and many of his jokes land, as well as the new UFO character having a really unique and fun design. As of right now, this is my favorite of the shorts that we've seen so far. Tokyo Mater is the first of the shorts that I have no memory of. One exciting part about this short is that the tuner cars from the original film are back. We get a cameo from the Monsters Inc. cars, which is fun, and the ending of the film is the first to imply that none of this has actually happened, so that's kind of interesting. This one honestly isn't that bad, and I would recommend watching it just for the Monsters Inc. cameo. Heavy Metal Mater is the worst thing I've had to sit through for this video. The song that is played throughout is annoying and would not be that much of a problem if it wasn't the only joke in the short. This is the first thing so far where I could not stand Mater. If you were looking for a Cars short to watch, I would pick any of them over this one. Really quick before we get into the next short, I just wanted to take a few minutes to kind of calm down and look at something a little bit different. One very big part of the Cars franchise, and honestly the reason why it has as many shorts and as many movies as it does, is because of the toys. So actually, I went to Walmart and I picked up this toy. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I just kind of wanted to unbox one and see what it was all about. I saw a Walmart truck that had a Cars face on it. I kind of want to get that one, but I didn't because this gag was not worth $20. It was worth like $4, and that's what I spent on it. But I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool, so I thought I would unbox it really quick. And yeah, I don't really know who this character is, but this was like the only other one I saw, other than the Walmart truck. And yeah, so let's get back to reviewing all the shorts. Moon Mater is nothing that special. The plot is kind of boring overall, the animation is pretty nice, but that is to be expected considering this short came out years after the original film. I feel like you can tell at this point there was nowhere else to really take the Mater's tall tale gimmick, and it was getting really old. Mater's Private Eye actually has a really good aesthetic, which is surprising to me coming off of two fairly bad shorts. For a simple short, the mystery is actually pretty interesting, but at this point I'm convinced there was no way you can tell a good joke with Mater's character, which is kind of upsetting considering that I didn't mind him that all at the original film. Alright, now for the film that I'm sure many of you have been waiting to hear me rip apart, Cars 2. Right off the bat, the animation is way better than it has any right to be in a Cars movie. And say whatever you want about the spy stuff being unnecessary, but it leads to some pretty cool action scenes. I agree with many others when they say that this film is way worse than the original, but I believe my reasons are a little different. For starters, I think that the spy stuff is fine. Yeah, it's a little out of nowhere, but the film is about talking cars, so everything was kind of out of nowhere. In fact, when the spy stuff was going on, it was the only times I was really enjoying the movie. My biggest problem is that this film really loses some of the heart of the original Cars film. There are many reasons for why this happens. Mater is very needy and becomes very unlikable within the first few minutes. Sally is almost entirely written out. McQueen is extremely mean, like way worse than he ever was in the original film, and Doc not being there, although it was understandable, I really did miss his character. Okay, now remember when I teased earlier talking about these sad Pixar moments? This is when I'm going to talk about it. So even though I love the films Up and Toy Story 3, I think they played a big part in the fall of Pixar. They set in motion this idea that every Pixar needs to focus on having these huge sad moments around all of the fun and action. While I don't have a problem with sad moments in my movies, if it does not fit in the movie, it doesn't fit. With this being said, Cars 2 has like 5 different sad moments and none of them work. The moments that are supposed to be sad moments are always between McQueen and Mater, but both of these characters are so unlikable in this film, it is almost impossible to get upset when they're fighting. Speaking of things that they have done in all of the recent Pixar and Disney films, this film has a twist villain, and he is not anywhere near as interesting as Chick Hicks was in the original film. I know we have been on this movie for a little while, but one final point that I want to make is that I think that this film should have ended completely differently. At the end of the film, the new characters, Finn and Holly, offer to Mater the ability to become a full-time spy, and I think that he should have taken it. Throughout these films, Mater is constantly doing everything to help push McQueen forward in his career. And in a film where Mater is feeling like he can never do anything right, it only seems right that Mater would leave his old life behind in order to do something for himself. Besides, he can always still be involved in the sequels, just say that he goes to watch McQueen's races or something. I cannot believe after an entire movie about Mater there's another Mater's Tall Tale, but up next is Air Mater. This short is not very funny, but it has really good animation. At this point though, the Mater's Tall Tale shorts have gotten extremely boring. Luckily though, there's only one more that we have left, and they have one final chance to hopefully make it a little less boring. It's less boring. Time Travel Mater is easily the most creative of these shorts, with the way it uses the clock on his nose in order for him to travel through time, and honestly this should have been the plot to Cars 2 with him going back in time to see how Radiator Springs got its start. I think UFM might have been slightly better than this one, but this short is very close behind, and is probably one of my favorite shorts. Finally, we are done with the Mater's Tall Tale shorts. The next short is called Hiccups. This is a really good idea for a short, but I don't really understand why it's about cars when the other Pixar properties would have worked way better. Honestly, there's not that much to say about this one, other than it's really nice to have a short with a lead other than Mater. Bugged kinda shocked me at first. First of all, it stars Red, which is completely unexpected and a nice change of pace. It also kind of feels like a non-Cars Pixar short. It has a really simple and wholesome story, and I would highly recommend anyone checking out this short, even if you're not a fan of the Cars films. Spinning is honestly really boring, but it's nice to see the tuner cars appear again, and honestly, there's not that much to say about this one. I'll probably never rewatch this one just because there's not really that much going on and not a lot for anyone to go back to. Radiator Springs 500 and a Half is good, but not as good as my favorite movie with "and a half" in the title. This short is the first thing to make me laugh out loud since the original film, with the "what's a Mater" joke. This short proves that Mater works way better in small amounts. The only thing that got annoying with this short were the constant left and right jokes. One thing that this short does really well is world building. It really made me want to go and visit Radiator Springs. Alright, and after making it through all of these shorts, we have now made it to Cars 3. Easily the Cars film that I have seen the least out of the trilogy. Right from the beginning, we get to see a nice callback to the original Cars film with the opening race scene. The racing scene makes the racing stuff feel fun again, which stands out considering that in Cars 2 it really didn't feel that way. Jackson is a really fun rival for McQueen in this film, especially considering how similar Jackson Storm is to McQueen at the start of Cars 1. The big crash that happens early on in this film is also interesting and shows the audience that they are not afraid to go to some darker places. One of the smartest things that this film does from the start is making Doc's character play an important role in affecting the plot. This helps to bring back some of the heart that the original film had that the second film is sadly missing. We got to another nice scene between Sally and McQueen pretty early on in Doc's garage. Mater honestly does almost nothing in this film, which backs up my claim that Mater that he should have become a full-time spy at the end of Cars 2. Speaking of Cars 2, it is not referenced at all in this film, and it would have been nice to at the very least have a small cameo from Holly, especially since Chick Hicks and the King both returned from the original film. Cruise and Jackson, both of their additions and the stuff that they add to the film are really cool. They're really cool characters and they added a lot to the film. The alternative ending, I will say, is I kind of wish they would have went with that one. But finally, McQueen's new paint job at the end of this film is nice, and having him have this new paint job puts a perfect bow on all three of the films, tying together the story between McQueen and Doc's storyline. The next short I had a really hard time proving that it even existed, but it's Miss Fritter's Racing School. There's not too much to it other than it's a pretty fun parody of just generic commercials, but it's a little short even for a Pixar short. Unparalleled Parking is the first of the Pixar popcorn shorts. This short is not necessarily bad, but like many of the shorts it's really boring. It is cool that Chick Hicks is back, but where is Cruise? Also, this short is the first where I could really feel that it doesn't feel like it takes place in the Cars universe at all. It's really lost all of its heart by the time it gets to this short. And finally, we have reached the final Cars project to date, Dancing with the Cars, and as much as I hate to say it, it is bad. The whole short feels like an animation test, and the only thing that it really has going for it are that all of the cars are in character, which is surprisingly a lot to ask for the shorts at this point. Alright, so now that I have rewatched these, I kind of have a new appreciation for the Cars movies. Although many of these projects I'll probably never watch again, there are definitely some hidden gems in the Cars franchise. But with that being said, this is my ranking of the Cars universe. Heavy Metal Mater, Moon Mater, Hiccups, Dancing with the Cars, Spinning, Unparalleled Parking, Radiator Springs 500 and a Half, Mater and the Ghostlight, Rescue Squad Mater, Miss Fritter's Racing School, Air Mater, Cars 2, Bugged, Monster Truck Mater, El Matador, Tokyo Mater, Mater the Greater, Cars 3, Time Travel Mater, UFM, and Cars 1. Also, I do know that there's a Cars show coming in 2022, but I need a few months without thinking about talking cars before I can even consider talking about that show. But if I were to make a theory or a hope for this series, I would hope for it to be very similar to Monsters at Work. I want to explore parts of the Cars universe that are unseen and keep Lightning McQueen and Mater, but give us some new characters to care about. Anyways, I hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all later. Goodbye, guys.